Good morning, everybody. Hope we're having a great day. So, we're going to jump right into it today. There's a tremendous amount to go over. Uh, just with what's happening out there, I think people need to be really aware of how to how to position themselves. So, the important thing that I would state is that it is good that uh, you are in a position where starting to see some kind of bounce in some of these names, right? That is good that we're starting to see that start to happen. Now, let's just go through this because it's really important to understand this. So, if you haven't watched it yet, I'm going to, for the month of October, at least for October, I'm going to do a top 5 at 5 list at the end of every day. Just very quick, top 5 ideas that you should watch for next week. And they're going to be longs and shorts, or for the next day. I apologize. So, still getting through the first cup of coffee, but I want to just go through what's happening here. So, this is the cues, okay, and this is the worst of them all. Okay, like it's not even close to what's happening, right? So here you are with this coming down and breaking, and it just constantly is breaking. This is showing no signs whatsoever of letting up yet. Now, I really want you to focus on this. I don't need this here. So just to kind of put this in perspective, this is where you got oversold last March, and then over here you bounced. Okay. So I just want to put this in perspective. You can go lower and the market can go lower and then bounce, and you can have a positive divergence right here. Let me just show you this because this is really important concept to grasp. And let's get rid of these indexes for one, or these indicators for one moment, and just focus on what I'm talking about here for those that don't follow RSI. And I have a video on this and I'd recommend that you watch it. So you could see how you have a positive divergence here, okay, and how this is still cratering. So what's that telling you? It's telling you that you have an issue, right? But the fact that it's doing this, just because you start the divergence doesn't mean that it could just happen right away. And that's exactly what I think people need to start understanding here. Just because we're going to get to a certain level and then bounce does not mean that this is over. So the very first thing that we need to see today, more than anything, is just don't go lower. Okay. We have not had a day where we have not gone lower in over a week. And let's just take a look at this. And I'm really focused on the cues today because this is important, right? You broke here, right? Since this day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's been over a week since you've had a higher high on the cues. So, and now the bars are getting longer, which means this is setting up to get worse, not better. When you start moving more volatile, it's setting up to get worse, not better. So you got to kind of keep that in mind. For me, looking at this is not something that I would be rushing right into to buy. Now let's look at this for a moment. Okay, let's just focus on this for 1 second. You're opening right here. If you break this 352 level, you're probably going lower again. So just keep that in mind. As I've been saying in the trading room, you need to be selling into rallies. So the stocks that we bought yesterday, like a couple of the names that we actually bought yesterday, like ASML, if you're up $10, $20 in it, whatever you're up, you lock in gains, right? When we bought this, yes, you could see if it does rally up to this level, 267. But when it does that, you probably want to start locking in gains. You want to be fast in this market because the gains are disappearing. The breakouts are not working. So just kind of keep that in mind. If anything, the breakouts are great places to short right now. So just keep that in mind. I hope that's helpful. Hey, G, good morning. And yes, your nickname is now G. So good morning, Lucas. Morning, Shock. Hey, Isaiah. Hey, Deb. All right, so let's get into it. NVIDIA, AMD, Apple. So let's just go through the top names. So to me, this is just broken, right? There's really not much more to say to it. I'm actually very surprised that it is where it is. But to me, that this is just absolutely broken, 15%. And there's really very little to do here. I mean, here, let's throw the indicators back in so you can see this. Okay. Since you broke the 50-day, that's been it. right? I mean, this was your chance to short right here. And this is what you've done with it so far. So I really don't see a sense of doing anything except just staying with it and seeing how it does. Now, that said, this could get a lot worse. There's no reason why we can't just even go back to August levels and go down to the 180s. So, and then just start working our way down. It's very possible in a correction that you touch the 200-day. That's what it's done before. So if you're going to get to that 200-day, you could get to the 160s. It's not going to happen in a day. It's going to take time because people work out of their positions. And I think people are going to work out of that position a little bit. So I'd be careful there. AMD, same thing. I would not be buying semiconductors here. To me, you need to hold this 99.25 level. And this is not, I always say with certain names like this, buy ugly. There's a time for that. And there's a time to not so much do that. And this is that time. When you start getting like this, let's get rid of these. When you start rallying like this, and then you're just getting tighter and tighter against a support line, okay, it's going to do one of two things. It's either going to break to the upside, which we're not setting up to break to the upside in any other semiconductor stock, right? Or we're going to break down. Okay, so the chances of this breaking down and getting back to the 92, 93 level are pretty good. Apple, Apple to me, like yesterday, I felt like we might finally be getting to a point where enough's enough. And let me just show this here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so right across this line, and here, let me just show you this difference so you can see the difference, right? So right across this line, the 138 level, which you've been here, here, and now you hit here, right? That to me, and the fact that we just had selling through this bar, this might be coming to an end. This is very steep. Okay, and usually when you're this steep, which is very different than the AMD chart, which you see the angles matter, right? So just maybe remember that. But so the angles matter. When you're dropping like this, straight down, like I say this all the time, straight up is not a chart pattern, right? So when someone's looking at something straight up, I'll say, hey, that's not really a chart pattern. When something is looking like it wants to go higher or bid up, right, you need to pay attention to it. So for me, looking at this, the way that it's dropping so fast, I'd be interested in going long on this at some point. Now, where that is, I don't know. Maybe it's back down to here. I still have options on it that I'm down on, but it is what it is, and I have plenty of time on those options. So I like this trade still, and I'm not over this trade. I don't see any reason why I can't bounce back up to 148 on any rally. So we'll see. We're going to have to see how that plays out. So let's just keep going. ENVX. So in regards to ENVX, let's just go through this and see. So here you are coming across, right? And you're going straight across. Here's your little wedge line, right? And you're wedged in, right? You see that? And then you reverse here. That's pretty interesting, right? I don't know the space. Let me know the space, Art, when you get a chance. But that's pretty interesting. This reversal yesterday, yeah, I don't know where you're going with it, but you have some other stuff out here that you might want to pay attention to, or like here, that's going to be an issue. Like when you get up to that, but that gets you to 22.90. I'm not really sure where we have this. Hold on. Let me see where that takes me. Yeah. I mean, that's really, there you go. I mean, 21.93, you're kind of hitting it here. You're kind of in the space here, rejects up here. I mean, you're kind of landlocked up here until you get through it. What does the, what's volume by price look like on this? So you don't have a lot of resistance up here. It's mostly down here, right? You don't really have a lot of supply, so you should be okay there. Now let's just keep going. Okay. So that's how, I mean, looking at that, that's how I would view that. I think you can get up to these levels. This reversal has my interest. And how did we do with volume yesterday? This is interesting. There's a lot going on here. Yeah, I mean, I'd be careful because I just don't have any volume. I just don't have anybody really paying attention to it. But that could also mean like And this is a pattern, right? Where you're long, long, shorter, shorter bars, right? So let's get rid of all this so you can understand what I'm saying. Long bar, long bar, long bar. See how the bars are getting from this bar on shorter and shorter? Yeah, that's usually signs that you're bottoming. And then this here, the fact that 3 times you're at the same level within a penny, yeah, you're probably bottoming very cleanly. If you break 1856, it's time to go. But you could reverse here, Art. But I don't see that much upside unless something happens. CEI, I like for a trade. And it seems like the people that are trading these names, it's not going away. And, there's something going on here that I'll just point out that's pretty clean. Look at this. I mean, since you got to that level, you really are not closing below it, right? Now that tells you that that's probably your bottom. And if you come across with it, and I know, look, we're looking at pennies here, but I find it very interesting that like the open on this bar was 288. The low on this bar is 289. The low on this bar is 286. Maybe we have a buyer here, right? Maybe there's a buyer in there, right? Because that seems to me where we're seeing the most action. Now, if I wanted to confirm my theory on that, what I could do is look at the volume and say, well, this is the most volume we've had here. This is the most volume we've had here, right? And kind of go through. It's kind of confirming what I'm looking at, right? But another thing you can do is just click on volume by price and then go and take a look at this and go, well, let's go look at the hourly volume by price. And then I can kind of see, well, here I am at that level. Here you are down here. So maybe there is some volume that's going on here, but the majority is a little bit higher. So that's telling me that I'm probably not where I think I am, right? As 289 being a level. So maybe it's not as strong as a level. So I'll watch it, but that doesn't mean that it's a be all end all, right? So that really didn't tell me what I wanted to see. Well, it told me what I wanted to see, but it's not what I thought was happening. So by understanding that, yes, there's a level here, but maybe we just use the 8-day instead, right? Maybe that's a good idea to just use the 8-day. And if I close below the 8-day, I get out because I really haven't closed below the 8-day yet since I broke out. So maybe I could use the 8-day moving average, simple moving average as a stop. So that trade's not over in my opinion. The way it's acting, it's just not over. I know they're in the energy space. I don't know exactly what they do in the energy space. Someone told me they're coming up with some kind of app. I don't know enough to speak intelligently about it. SI was on my list yesterday. Raj, yeah, I think you're there. I do. I think you're there. I think that the groups that we're looking at I don't know how else to say it. I think that you are getting there. Hold on one second. Let me stay with me, go through my notes. Here, let me pull this up. This pen version, I don't know what's going on here. I have no idea why it's doing this. This is acting like something that's going to break out, or get bought out. Was there an offer made on the company? Is that why this is doing this? Is it in, some kind of like oil? I don't know this company. So breaking the 25, that was your level. Now you're at 32. You're just waiting for a correction on this to take a look at it. I would not be a buyer until we correct. So and you can tell me the story if you want, so I can have some details and then comment on it. SI, look, I was waiting for this breakout. It happened yesterday. I'm trying not to buy breakouts. There's a difference going on here, and I want to make this differentiation very clear, okay? Because this looks like it's going to just rip, right? So I want to make this differentiation really clear to people. In markets that are weak like this, you don't buy the breakouts. The difference is that if you are tied to an underlying commodity and that commodity is moving, you can buy the breakouts. So in other words, energy breakouts are different than semiconductor breakouts right now. Bitcoin and crypto breakouts, considering that Bitcoin is a commodity, whether we agree about it or not, it's a commodity. There's only so much, right? So those kinds of breakouts, that's working. Okay. I mean, I did that top 5 by 5 yesterday that I published. This was on there. Like, I think you could go to here today. Like, I really do. I think this could really break out today and go up to that level just to start. And, it's a 2% move. I don't know what it's going to do to SI. It should break it out. I mean, SI was one I was looking at. This was one I was looking at, but it's just not acting right? For having this, the stock's going back up or the crypto is going back up, but it's not really moving anymore, right? So maybe it's got to grow into its valuation. But something like this is moving on that news. So I have been looking at this, and I think there's trades in there. Short the Facebook rip, or will people still buy the name? Look, I said this the other day, and let me rephrase this. I said this years ago, just so you understand my position, Robert, on this, and good morning. Was it back here, right, when they had those hearings? And I called that this is it. They're done with this company. And it tripled, right? So I don't know if everyone remembers those hearings. This is it. They're finally going to take control. They're going to get things back. Okay. Stock's tripled since then. So to me, I feel like they had their tobacco moment with this lady on TV, where we finally realized tobacco is bad for us. I feel like they had that tobacco moment on Sunday. And, the convenience of what happened yesterday where the system just shuts down is very reminiscent of maybe it's time to scrub the servers. So I'm not going to play conspiracy theory, but the timing of that was just crazy to me. We just happened to get hacked. You haven't been hacked before, but now this close to $1 trillion company is getting hacked. Okay. So, if it smells like a duck, it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a duck. So, to me, I think you could trade back up to this 336 level, 337. If I get back up here, I'm shorting it again. I've been a big proponent of shorting this in the room since up here, since it broke the 50-day. And then we rallied back to the 8, so the trade didn't really work as well. And now you're breaking back down. I think it's toast, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before on this name. But any rally, yeah, I'm selling the rallies. And what I would focus on is I don't think that this is going to spill over into names like this. So I don't think it's going to fall into these kinds of names. They're all breaking down on this. But I don't think it's going to fall into them. I really don't. I don't think it's going to affect these names as much, but they're all breaking down. Like this is setting up to just fall off a cliff. Okay. You can literally look at Twitter and say you can literally count from 67 to 58 and do like one of these counts. And I know you asked about Facebook, but they're all kind of intertwined, aren't they? So you see how you run up and then you're breaking. Like this is setting up for a 10-point drop. This is setting up to go to the mid. Like if this reverses, if this has a continuation pattern, this is going to get a lot worse. Okay, a lot worse. You're probably going into the 40s. You're probably coming back down to here. So I wouldn't be surprised by that. So any major rally, yeah, I would short it again, Robert. BB and TBT. So BB, I wouldn't go near this. Again, you're just waiting for you're really waiting for somebody to come out there and you're really waiting for somebody to come out there and run the company up again. I mean, that's all you're waiting for. It's not like there's anything real reason to be buying BlackBerry. I'd love another option besides Android and Apple. I don't know why they can't get it together and come out with something, a different platform. TBT. Yeah, I mean, look, the treasuries, you're just playing a game. And, from here over, you're just going to have to see how you act. This is acting as if you're going higher, right? So let's just focus on this for a minute. We'll just talk about the pattern and not the fundamentals of what's going on. So there's some real issues with what's going on with the debt ceiling now. And you can see it. Look at this level, right? So you can see what you have to get above in order for this to go. But you could see there's some real issues out there that could affect the bond market. So be really careful with stuff like this because you can see the gaps. And this can you come in one day and you're down like 10%, like this, like it's nothing. So you have to be really careful with those. MTDR and GTE. MTDR, like this is on, hold on, MTDR. Okay, this was on the top 10. It looks beautiful. I mean, it did exactly what you needed it to do yesterday, right? Here's your breakout. You broke out and you went. I mean, there's not much more to say. It looks beautiful. I think you're going higher. If you want me to give you an understanding of where I think you can get to, I don't see any reason why you can't head up to $47, $48. None. You know, on pullbacks, I'm buying oil names. GTE, any pullbacks, I'm buying oil names. I mean, I think that we're going to have a real issue here. You know, if you're watching what's going on with these shippers, I mean, that's how we get, you know, that's how we get oil now. So there's your break, right? This must be another energy. I don't know if it's a driller or what they do. So I can't speak to that. This is what you're looking for. It's a little penny stock. Maybe it goes, maybe it doesn't. MTDR, I like a lot. Good morning, Shane. AMD. No, I don't. I don't think it's worth a buy. I'd be really careful. I mean, to me, like this is getting easy. And that's the only reason why I think that maybe we're going to get to a point where this starts to stop, or maybe I'm early again. And as people know, you know, if you've watched me for some time, you'll know that I'm early. But I think this is getting very easy to start figuring out what to do. And by that, I mean, any rallies in some of these names, just short them. I mean, that's really what you've been doing. Like BNTX up 10%, right? Or whatever you're up 10 points. When you're up 10 points, short it. I mean, that's been the trade. AMD, you're up 5% like this, you short it. So any of these rallies, until you start taking out higher highs, I'd be really careful about bottom fishing in this market. Look, this correction hasn't even started. We're not even a correction yet, right? Just understand that. Yes, you've broken that. Yes, you're basing, but you're down 8.5%. Okay, you're not down 20%, 15%. Okay, this was the first day. Yesterday was the first day where we were down over 2%, right? Where we actually closed down 2%. It hasn't happened since then. It hasn't happened, right? You've opened here, come down, but from the opening to the low, you were down 2%, over 2%. Why do you think this is going to reverse and you should be buying tech? Like, be really careful about adding the names like this. I will be shorting them as they on any of these rallies. You know, I'll play the long side on names for like a couple days. And maybe I'll get lucky and pick a bottom. Like I tried to do that with ASML yesterday. You know, I put out a little alert to trade it, and I'll walk you through it so you can understand. This is what you need to be looking for. You need to be looking for, okay, this is the curve. This is my break up, right? And then I held that line, and then I just stay in it, and then I'm up 10 points today. Okay, take the 10 points. Because I'm probably not going to break this level, right? Chances of me breaking 730 today are not great. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. So you need to sell the rallies on names like that and not be out there doing that. You know, I honestly, CEI, I don't even know what CEI does. I know they're an energy company, but I couldn't tell you what they do. MDTR just covered. Hopefully you saw it, Art. The pullback of the 3805 levels where I'd be. Let's just go through it one more time so that you're clear. MTDR, hold on. You know, this is my reason for not getting too involved with it, right? But I'm not crazy about that kind of pattern. But yeah, I mean, I think you're going to go higher. Look, you could come in and then go higher. That's what I'm kind of hoping. I get to 3805. I can add to it. Let's just keep going here. Merck. So Merck I really like. Okay, but you need to be taking a long-term look on Merck. And here's your level. And we talked about this the other day, right? How they're taking us up over levels to get people to buy in, and then they're dropping us back down. That's the game right now. Okay, go through your litany of stocks yesterday and look at your breakouts and how you should have shorted the breakouts. And look at how when you broke down, how you should have bought the breaking down, right? It's a quick trader's market. And if that's not for you, then you probably don't want to be in a market like this, right? You probably don't. So, but that said, I would look at something like this, trading up and kind of go from there. Yeah, I like this. You know, this can continue to go. So let's see how it plays out. But you need to break over this line and really do that. And that's not what you're doing. You're kind of filling in the gap for now. But I'd be more inclined to try to buy it closer to this line. And then if I broke this line, probably get out of the trade. Yeah, you might want to look at getting back into that chain on pullbacks. DCP. So, yeah, one of these LPs, where the oil and gas. I don't know this one, but I mean, here's your level. You can see it. Breaks out, can't get over it, breaks out again. And now what you want it to do is you want it to clear the first higher high to confirm that it's going to move. And look when it did that right here, right? That bar, 29, and now you're gone. Yeah, I mean, you're heading back to here to start. You're getting back to 32. So, you know, that's where you're heading. After you get to 32, from here, you know, here's your range, right? 38. So you can kind of see how this is going to play out, right? I mean, you're going to probably pop back in this channel, and then maybe you can get to the high 30s. But it's definitely broken out. I mean, we can pop these in and you can see it. We don't even need them, right? You see the volume spike. You see the curling of this. You see these moving averages, right? They're all starting to point up. So that probably continues. So, hey, Rafa. So we got FANG. So, yeah, I mean, any of these energy names, I mean, you're going to just see them just continue to do this. I would have liked a stronger close, but that's a decent close nonetheless. And, you know, this name's really benefiting from what's going on. I mean, you're up pretty drastically in a couple of weeks on a name like this, right? I mean, that's a big move on a name, right? 23% in a week, 28% in a week. So, you know, obviously this one, people are leaning towards this one for whatever reason. It just means when this reverses, it's going the other way. But you have a little bit of a problem right here. But that could be, you could get up to here, 113. There's probably another 10 points there. The issue with it, to me, is that you need to just watch this. Okay. This is not something that, you know, you want to buy the breakout. You want to buy it when it pulls back a little bit. You can see your little pattern here, your little flag. You broke out of it. Now you're going to go. Yeah. Just be careful. Yesterday was the breakout. Yes. And you can get up to here. Yes. But you have a level up here that you're going to have to deal with. But that can definitely go. NEE. So we're in this in the newsletter. I bought it as a defense play, like a defensive play to hedge. There's not really much to say about it. The 21 and the 50 crossing are not making me feel warm and fuzzy, but I think I can still trade up to it and possibly through it if this gets worse. So that's kind of how I looked at that trade. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with adding to it. Every single day, we're basically closing at a higher high. So I would just leave it alone. You know, you don't get rich from those, Jacob. You just preserve capital, make a little money. What's going on? CELH. Yeah, let's go through them. So this yesterday, and let's just go through what's going on this morning so we can kind of see, right? You're already pulling back. So all we did yesterday, and I just want to point this out, we're rallying and hitting highs. And what's happening is you're hitting those highs. Okay, just pay attention to stuff like this. If you haven't watched that RSI video, I would watch the RSI video on my playlist. So you see this negative divergence going on here. We're hitting a high. We're hitting a high. That's not what you want to see. That's not exciting, right? So that leads me to believe that this is going to fail again. So I'm not chasing this. right? I'm not. And then all I would say to you is as this runs right into my trend line or our trend line, right? I don't know what you're using as a trend line. This is what I'm using. And what you're seeing is you keep rejecting it. Bonk, 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 bonk. I mean, like it's over and over again. It's like that movie with Bill Murray. It's Groundhog Day. So like, what's the hurry here, man? Like just let this work itself out. I actually think you're going to wind up rolling here, getting back to the 50 probably before earnings, which is coming up, right? I think you're going to get back down to here before earnings, and then maybe you lift off after earnings. But that's how I would look at it. And UPST. So look, that's a break. Okay, this is a break. Now, whether or not you hold, you don't hold, we're going to have to see. Where are you this morning? Yeah, I mean, if I was up like $10, I'd be going through list of, this is really what I'd be doing this morning. I'd be going through my list of stocks that are up 3% or more that are not tied to a commodity like Bitcoin or oil, and just start looking for stuff like that. Just start putting shorts on, because that's the kind of market that you're in right now. Okay. You need to be really, really careful here. Really careful. So, something like this, it'd be nothing for this to have a long bar down today. Just because you don't see weakness right now doesn't mean that it's not there. ZIM, it broke. Okay. I mean, it actually broke yesterday, and something's wrong. I don't understand why it's not benefiting like as the shipping company that it is, but something's definitely wrong with it. And, yesterday's sell-off is pretty clear on the volume side. And when you're in a market like this is not telling you to jump in this. You need to get out of this. For those that haven't, please subscribe to the channel, just because when I do these videos, the time varies every morning between 8:15 and 8:30. And that's the easiest way to be notified. But you see what's going on here, right? Look, like, where are you going? Where are you going? I mean, I hate to say it like that and laugh, but like, there's no reason to be in this. If you want to talk about other kinds of shit, like, that rejection yesterday, I don't really understand it. Like, these shippers are getting like 10 times what they were getting for a container. Okay, you're having all types of supply issues, and we don't have to get into the politicalization of it. We just have to focus on what makes us money, what gets us paid. And to me, when you're starting to see this rejection, it might be time to start shorting some of these kinds of names, because there's something going on that we don't understand. Is it the cost of oil that's doing it? Maybe it's the fact that they expect oil to go up so much, and that's how these ships are run that we're seeing. But you're a triple top, and triple tops don't exist. Like, you don't like reverse break through them. They usually take some time. So I'd watch all those names. But if you want my opinion, CIM on any rally is a short now. I mean, if you rallied up today, I'd be looking at putting a short on, right? You're up today on something like that, keep going, right? Because get back to that 48 level, right? Get back to that 50-day, and I'd be looking at putting a short on that. There's no question about it at all. You're not going to just miraculously reverse here. You're going to go lower. So if I missed your comment, please put it back in. I may have jumped through a couple if I haven't answered you yet. LSPD, I had on the short list as one that could rally off of being sold down so much. So far, it hasn't come to fruition. I'm wrong so far, right? It hasn't happened. Matter of fact, what you have is like this little pattern that developed here. How's that going? Not very well, right? So you can't even make a higher high. That just leads me to believe that people are blowing out of it. Now we're dropping on levels like this with even less volume, right? So maybe we're going to keep going. Maybe we're going to keep dropping down to the 75 level. Look, when you break a 50-day moving average, there's a couple spots you're going to go to, okay? One spot that you should look at if you're looking for a bounce, okay, is your 100-day moving average. You might want to write this down and remember this. So when you're in a corrective market, right, and you're dropping fast, and some of these are really dropping fast, right? Like this has gone from 127 and everyone's like, oh, I'm immune to what's going on out there, to I have an issue, right? So when you start seeing moves like that and you break the 50-day, and I don't use this all the time, right? But there's a spot for this, the 100-day moving average, okay? And it's during corrections or when stocks are correcting. Start seeing how it acts here. Start seeing if it stops. Sometimes they bounce and they get trapped between the 100 and the 50, and you can trade that. So that's what I would use to look at that. See if that 100-day holds, okay? And go from there. You're welcome, G. So let's just keep going. And CFLT. Hey, Nat. So you kind of reversed here, didn't you? And you kind of reversed under what? Under the 8 and the 21 day. I mean, that should make you feel great considering that you don't even have a 200-day moving average. So what kind of pattern is this, right? This is an H pattern. Well, they're not the best. So I have an H pattern, and I basically have a bearish engulfing, right? Where the close was 63.56 and the open was 63.55. So, okay, so I missed it by a penny, but that was the high of the day. So we're going to call that encapsulating. So I'm going to call it a bearish engulfing and an H pattern. I mean, it's pretty clear what you need to see. You break that, you're going to this level. Now, what happens there, we don't know yet. But if I break this 58 and a half, you're going to 56, 55 and a half. You're going lower. And this is telling you that the magnitude's changing. People are losing interest. And you see how you're declining, your volume's declining. That's the declining line. This is going lower. That's my opinion. So Shep says, move in sync with the cues. Yeah, I mean, like, look, they're all shaping up that way, aren't they? They're all kind of shaping up that way. You know, this was a short when we rallied back to that 1500 up here, right? When we kind of got up there and near it, and then you reverse. That was kind of your short. I mean, I'm not shorting things that are not breaking their 200-day moving average, right? Like, I'm not doing that. And I also don't put my shorts on when I'm down here, right? So, like, if I'm at, like, my RSI rating's 28, okay? Yes, can I go lower? Absolutely, you can go lower. But with that said, let's just look at this. Here's where we were in March during the pandemic, during a major sell-off and correction. So I'm actually lower here on the RSI than I was here. So what does that lead me to believe? That makes me believe that we could have a really sharp bounce up. So maybe if I break the 200-day, you could short it, right? Because this can always go into the teens, right? We've seen that before. But that doesn't mean that I want to be there the day that it comes in and it gaps open and gaps up, right? So let's just keep going. You're welcome, buddy. Would you buy the pullback on CCJ and URA? I wouldn't. I still like them. I want to see what they do. What got me yesterday was this. Oil and energy ran. This didn't. Like CCJ stayed below the 21-day moving average, didn't it? Right? Look where we're opening and where the high is right now and the close right now, right on the 21-day moving average. I didn't like yesterday's action in those names at all. I thought that we should have had follow-through. If we were going to have follow-through, it was yesterday. We didn't have follow-through. We had rejection of the 21-day moving average. Does that make me excited? Not at all. No. That leads me to believe that energy is now starting to divide into the haves and the have-nots, and that's starting to become, very clean on what they're going to be, right? So I look at it and say it's very clear to me that that's going to become the oil names. So we're going to. I have several friends in the industry who are reporting relief at their payments for shipping. So the prices this week halving dependent on suppliers. So that's coming down. The pricing is coming down. Well, maybe that's going to do something with the bottleneck that we have in California that we're seeing right now. I don't really understand the issue. They can't unload the ships. It's kind of crazy, but Um, I agree with that. That's interesting. So maybe that's why it's happening. Thanks, Robert. That's kind of important. ERUS. So maybe if they're seeing that pricing come in, yeah. If you're seeing that pricing coming in, that they're probably going to get, SBLK and those names, they're probably going to get smoked. ERUS, I mean, it's just constantly rocking. So it's been rocking since here. Look, I mean, here you were in November. What's been going on? I mean, look, their major export is what? Oil, right? So, I mean, if oil goes up, the Russian stock market goes up. I mean, that's not rocket science. So, hold on one second. Get a little more coffee. So, I think looking at it, you have to understand that as long as oil goes up, this is going higher. I mean, you could literally probably compare this to oil and just see that. I don't see any reason why that's going to happen, or change. So, you're welcome, Isaiah. ET Long. Let's get rid of everything. So I really like this action. I like how the volume line is picking up and increasing. I like how you've look at this, like all these LPs, right? Like this is just another one of those, probably pays like a huge dividend or something, right? So, they work until they don't work. I mean, that's these kinds of trades. Here's your trend line, but here you see you broke over this. So that would lead me to believe that we're probably heading back up to here, right? That this could go to $11. Now, at that $11 mark, the trade's not over. You could flip the line and go right here and keep going. So, keep that in mind. That could work, Laura, but you have to be quick. So, and I would focus on energy, Laura. Let me just see. I feel like I missed a large group of people. AEHR. So, we kind of did a trade. Actually, I recommended a trade yesterday on this in the trading room, and it kind of worked out, right? So that was kind of interesting to me how we held here. And in a market like this, it's really important that you look at your daily charts during the day, if you have the time, and just kind of figure out where you're lying in regards to certain levels, right? It's helpful. You can see how that could have been helpful yesterday, right? Knowing where the 21 day was. And so for me, yeah, this could keep going maybe, but you know where your line is, you know what you're holding. You watched your little reversal from that yesterday. I've got a little dragonfly here, and where am I now? I was down. I'm down to 1320. I'm trading up again. Look, I think this could go if it can get over this 8. Okay, so 1380. Always know where those levels are during the day. It's very helpful. So batteries. Okay, so there you go. Is Spotify going to I don't know what Spotify is going to do. That's a good question, Lucas. I mean, I like Spotify a lot. Like that's breaking down. Like that's obviously going to take out the low to me. Here's your trend line. You ran right to your trend line and you rejected. I actually bought this, traded it up, and then it rejected, and I got out of it, thankfully. But look, I mean, you're going to 200. I mean, there's very little doubt in my mind that that's where you're heading. And the fact that you look at this yesterday. I mean, your high was the 50-day, and now you closed here. So all you're really looking for, again, on something like this, you're hoping that it bids up, right? Because if it bids up, then you can short it. You'd be really careful shorting stocks that are down. It's hard. So, but in regards to that, I would really focus on names like this. I mean, yeah, this can go back down to 200 fairly quickly. Lucas, there's no question about that. So, yep, if it pays a big dividend, take a look at it. But, I would focus on that. And then the other thing I would focus on, frankly, is anything that, look, all these little Bitcoin names, they're all going to move in tandem, right? Look at the ones that are moving, right now with Bitcoin going up, and they're the ones that you need to play. Okay. I mean, just run through them. Like, is this one bidding up? Yes. Did it go up yesterday because Bitcoin went up? Yes. They're the names you need to focus on. If you're in something and you're trying to play these Bitcoin names and they're not moving like this one on the news, that the stock just going from, or that the underlying currency is going up the way that it has, just focus on the ones like this that are breaking out, right, on that news. Don't focus on the other ones. So, yep, you're welcome, boss. It was an easy trade. So, but that's what it is. It's just you make a little, that's the market you're in right now, boss. You hit a single and then you go from there. That's the kind of market you're in. So that's it, everybody. I'm going to jump. I got to get focused here. Time to go get paid and figure some things out. Everyone, have a great day.